I generated over $100,000 in sales in just 1 hour using the power of webinars. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about webinars and how you can get sales through these webinars, because everybody does webinars and getting sales from it is a whole different equation. I'm going to show you the preparation that it took. I remember it took me around 1 month of preparation for this kind of webinar. It was during the Black Friday event where everyone is just selling all together. And it took us around 6 people to implement this strategy. Plus, the money it took to implement, I would say it's free. Yes, the money it took to implement was free because it's all about creating the value and promoting the value for the user. And who can implement this strategy? If you're into B2B and if you're into SaaS, then you got to be taking this podcast episode seriously.
If that resonates with you, listen along. Also, check out our other episodes. You're listening to TLDR, the B2B SaaS growth podcast brought to you by Spear Growth. The goal of the podcast is to enable you, our listeners, to generate an additional $100,000 in cumulative pipeline by May 2024. To do this, we bring people who have made a real impact in their companies. They cut through the fluff and dive deep into one tactic or strategy of theirs. I'm your host Ishan. Let's generate pipeline. Awesome. Thanks, Meenank, for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Ishan. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. But by the way, coincidentally, I have seen, or the way I got to know about you for the first time was because of a webinar you were hosting.
Wow.
And then I saw you here and there on LinkedIn. So, I mean, that's a testament to what we're going to talk about today in itself.
Lovely. Let's have it.
So, very quickly in a couple of lines. So, what do you do in general? Yeah.
So if you ask me right now, currently I'm consulting SaaS startups on their content, on their community. And on my side, I go to colleges, I go to marketing institutes like Lit School, etc. It's like an alternative to Masters Union. And they call me for lectures, and I could just go there and give lectures right now in my time. Otherwise, I'm just traveling all across the world. That's what I'm doing.
Awesome. Love that, man. So Meenank, like if you can just break down all the numbers in a webinar, like how many people registered, how many people you mentioned that I think 400 showed up and 300 stayed till the end. So if you can break down other numbers similarly, that hey, like how many clicked, bought, any numbers that you have for us.
One key thing people need to know is the conversion rate. People, let's say 100 people register to your webinar. There is no way 100 people are going to show up to the webinar. If 100 people registered, that conversion rate is around 10% of people who show up to the webinar. So if you have 100 registrations, you can expect 10 people. And if the conversion is lower than 10, then your marketing is wrong. As simple as that. The offer was not enticing, etc. Now, the key point to remember is this was Black Friday. And in order for 400 people to show up, we had around 1600 registrations. And to get these 1600 registrations, again, all organic ways, it took us 45 days. It was Black Friday as well. We are positioning it as the signature product for Black Friday. It was presented like a Apple launch. So around 1600, you can say 400 people showed up. So basically what I want to say in Shilva's average conversion rate is 10%. During special occasions and your marketing is good, the conversion can go to as high as 25 to 30%. Anything beyond that is magical. Anything beyond that is truly magical. If you have a 1600 and 800 people showed up, oh my God, that's 50% conversion. That is extreme, I would say. Yep. So that's basically what I wanted to say.
I really appreciate the numbers. So you said you generated $100,000 in revenue. Can you break that down? That how did you know that it got generated from this particular webinar? Did you collect information? Did they purchase? Was there a drip sequence? How are you saying it's attributed to this one webinar?
Oh, it's very simple. So what happened was We had set up a system on our Slack channel where we could track sales. Yes, the our developer did some magic behind and connected the sales this thing to the Slack channel. Don't ask me what happened behind. That's the job of the developer. So he did the same, and every single hour we used to get like a notification. Okay, how many sales did we did? What is the numbers that came in?
Yeah.
So what it did was it boosted our morale. So that was how we tracked the sales. So what happened was we just before the webinar started, it absolutely was zero. And
Mhm.
after the 1.5 hour, what we checked, we didn't do any marketing activity. Nothing was happening there just from this webinar. And we also gave a special gift to people who purchased during the webinar. So we 100% know people purchased what, right? We collected their emails. Later on, we cross-referenced them with our database. This is where the team of 6 people came in. They cross-referenced them in their database. They checked, okay, which plan they purchased. And then we gave them gifts based on the plan they purchased. So we 100% know that this webinar generated around $100,000 in its first hour, for sure. The webinar spanned over 4 hours, by the way. Yeah.
Holy. Okay, so
Yeah.
the reason why I'm so surprised is because most webinars, I would say, I think it's fair to say most webinars fail, right? So
100%.
I think hardly most people aren't able to generate like traffic to a webinar, and let alone generate revenue from it. How would you divide, I guess, the pieces of the puzzle? Is there like just a pre-webinar, during webinar, post-webinar, or do you divide it in in a different way?
So the pre-webinar is all about promotions.
Mhm.
Since Black Friday is one such event where people spend all of their money. I've had customers who spent all of their money and they didn't have money to pay rent. He stayed for 2 months in his car. So there were customers like that too. So essentially Black Friday is the one where people are spending mindlessly. So it was during that time. It's not like during any other time, random time, etc. So it was just definitely during that time. Secondly, we were advertising this webinar since the past 45 days. You're like, this is one webinar you cannot miss. You can, we were promising that 2023 is going to be the biggest year for you if you attend this webinar. If you've been looking for making money, no other go, but to attend this webinar. Then week on week, we were just releasing. If you attend this webinar, this is the gift that we 100% give you. We will also give you 2 prizes for random people who stay in the webinar and answer questions. You just have to show up and then we'll give you a gift. We are doing everything possible to get people onto that webinar. Because what I believe is marketing, sales is basically me and you talking. But what if I can get me and some 1,000 people talking, right? The impact is much higher. Me and 1,000 people in a room, and all I'm doing is an advertisement. Think of it like that.
Yeah.
So for many people to show up to that room, it took a lot of pre-marketing. It's like we did a content schedule on what kind of
Mhm.
pre-marketing that we're going to do, how many days to go. It was hyped. Yeah.
So could you maybe elaborate on the schedule itself, right? So how many people were involved? Which platforms were you posting on? Did you? So you mentioned you didn't do any paid advertising for this, right? So did you also use any communities, or if you are okay sharing, what was the target audience and how did you select this? If anyone else wants to do something similar.
Oh yes, so for this webinar we didn't do any paid marketing. Paid marketing was happening alongside the webinar for other products, definitely. So not for this one. So what we did was we used our own community that we have built to around 18,000 members, completely B2B. It's like a buyer intent community. And then we used our social media handles. That's the second thing, where we constantly posted stories. That's when one social media manager from our team was involved. We hired her from she stays in Philippines, yeah. So we also had community manager who was doing this when I was like strategizing and creating materials with the graphic designer and all that. So graphic designer also played a key role because she was responsible uh, responsible for creating these graphics that were coming in. And we found out that our customers
Mm-hmm.
also hung out in different communities, other SaaS
Mm-hmm.
related communities. This was just not
Yeah.
our own community, but there were some other communities as well.
Yeah.
So we went and spoke to the admins of the communities. We said that, dude, this is the biggest thing whatsoever. We also gave them some code to give away. It's not like
Yeah.
we wanted all for free. No, we gave them value. We are like, you. This is the code. With this code, they can redeem a free license that is worth $200. So you can distribute it and conduct a giveaway and get engagement for your own group. So imagine each group had around 5,000 members on an average. One group had 10,000, one group has 3,000, one group has 7,000. It's like that. So imagine 5,000 members on an average. Giveaways are usually high engagement posts. Let's say we did for 5 groups. 5 fives are 25. That's a 25,000 reach. You're getting my point. Now all of these people are shouting, doing giveaways. The hype is being made. So this was a strategy that completely took place.
Awesome. And you also mentioned social media. So which channels did you use in social media? Was it just LinkedIn or was there anything else also?
Mainly 99% activities took place on Facebook. This
Oh,
was this was Facebook on its prime. Facebook
yeah.
groups on its prime, you can say.
Yeah.
And other social media platforms include LinkedIn and Twitter too. Twitter, what happened was we were doing social listening on Twitter. We took a tool like Brandwatch or something.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever the word funnel was there, which is regarding the product,
Yeah.
we went and said, we are launching a new funnel tool. Why don't you just, come in? So we did that
Nice.
kind of outreach too. It's like we exhausted all organic channels possible. Yeah.
That's very interesting. So so your approach to all of them has have been really different. And please correct me if I'm wrong as I summarize it. So when
Right.
you were sort of doing the promotions, um, you mentioned there's a community manager role, the social media manager, there's a graphic designer, there's you. I'm sure that was there anyone else apart from the four of you?
Yes, there was the founder himself. I was just the marketing head. There was the founder himself
Hmm.
who already had a personal brand built up.
Yeah.
So we used
Uh,
that one as well.
and where was his personal brand like
His
most
personal brand was
prominent in?
mainly on Facebook again.
Nice.
Yep. That time the blue ticks were rare, and yeah, so that was
Interesting.
there. And then we also
Sure.
got an
So there were.
authenticity. Authenticity was also another thing. What we did was the tool that we were launching. We also brought in the developers, the team behind. We tried to showcase all that element too. That we are also excited, not just you guys.
Yeah.
About the webinar. So it
Understood. No,
was,
that's
yeah.
interesting.
Hmm.
So you have, let's say, five people primarily for marketing, and then you're also bringing in everyone else who's related to the tool, showing the tool like behind the scenes. So I think I have a good sense of okay. Also, can you break down okay what are all the different kinds of posts? So one you mentioned was you were trying to show authenticity. A few more
Yes.
FOMOs. A few were talking about giveaways, which is FOMO. And then
Countdown pose.
okay, nice.
And then what kind of value we were giving in the webinar, like
Hmm.
freebies, right? The free
Hmm.
We are posting those freebies now, like do not miss
Yeah,
out on this freebie.
yeah.
And then we
Nice. So
ask these, yeah, exactly, we ask these founders also to post in those other groups too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Understood. So I think that, and then you just made a calendar out of all of it. That hey, it should all be evenly spaced out, and you also like you didn't stop all other content and just start posting this. Obviously, there was other content that you would normally post to build up
100%.
engagement that kept happening, and this was just pieces of
This was
promotion
just
that was
pieces.
sprinkled in.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love that. So, and then the places that you used was Facebook, which was Facebook groups only, or is there anything else in Facebook that you were using?
99% Facebook groups.
Okay, interesting. So, Facebook groups. For LinkedIn, you used a tool like Brandwatch or Brandwatch.
This was for
LinkedIn,
Twitter. We used brand mentions, I guess. There are
okay,
multiple social listening tools out
yeah,
there. So we
you
used it
used
for
one of
Twitter
them.
mainly. Yeah.
Nice. So for Twitter, use that, and then whenever
Yes.
you added your keywords there, and whenever someone searched for relevant keyword, you would go. That's a lot of effort, by the way. Kudos to you guys. So then you sort
Yes.
of went there, actually commented there, interesting, and then
Got banned as
finally,
well. Got banned as well. We didn't know what was the limit of commenting, so we started maxing out the tool, and my profile got banned. And I was like, oh my god, paranoid moment. You don't want to get your
okay,
social
so
accounts banned before Black Friday. That is the this thing that could happen. Yeah.
oh yeah, so if you are doing this, please look at all the ban limits across channels to avoid that. So this is really useful. And then you also
Mhm.
had also built your own group. Where was the community that you had built on? Was it also on
Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, so you had one primary channel. Um, for the promotion bit, if you had to do it again, would you still do it in the same way, or would you recommend just not doing it? Because you keep mentioning Facebook, would you do the, because Twitter sounds like a lot of work. Would you do it again, or be like, hey, let's just double down and do more work on the same channel, or would you add more channels, or what would you do differently, or what have you been doing differently?
I would do more. I would again once again employ community as well, because community was the core aspect. Again, I would go into, instead of targeting influencers, I would target these community admins, right? Influencers are like they have followers, but community admins, they have members. There's a difference. Community members, they interact, they talk, they report, they express their feelings, they share it among other people. That's a lot of I mean, they do for social media as well, but social media is primarily one way communication. So doubling down on community based influencers who ran their own communities, influencers who ran their own communities, I think we would do more of it. Instead of doing it for 5, we would do more 10 more on it to reach more people. We would then also leverage this tools community also. For example, we are launching this funnel tool, we will ask them to create a community as well. So, and we would currently, if you ask us, if our thing is on Facebook groups, 100% we'll again do on Facebook groups. Nowadays the tools have also improved, we have that everyone tag now. But honestly, if it was Discord, I don't mind either. I think the same thing can be done on Discord as well. The same thing can be done on Slack as well. Both have everyone tags. So I don't mind Discord or Slack either.
I love how you're also looking at the specifics of, hey, everyone tag is important, and that wasn't obvious to me, at least.
Mhm.
So that's interesting. So is there anything else I should ask you about the promotion itself, or can we go into how do you even engage someone for 4 hours? I cannot
I know the
imagine.
exact number that was there. That was the highest number that we hit
Uh-huh.
in the webinars. It was around 421, 425 something.
Wow,
And for at the fourth hour, we had around 300 members,
really?
which was, yeah, we did.
Re-
We were just doing
After 4 hours?
it's the power of gamification inside webinars. Okay, it's like we found one number drop, few numbers drop. We're like, time for a giveaway, and they're like, they'll just again, oh, giveaway, giveaway. Oh my god, let's do it. You know, it is like
Wow.
you have to keep the sense of it. You have to name. You have to. It should feel like you're talking to them personally. So I always take out their names. Oh, you're from Texas, man. I was there last week. You know, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you also tell them, if someone is active in the community, you call them by their name. Why haven't you showed up to our last webinar? I'm glad you're in this
Hmm.
webinar, but you're not allowed to leave. You say things like this to everyone. It's like you have to be in touch with those your own community members too, you know, so you can keep them
Mhm.
engaged, you can keep them talking, you can ask them questions. I mean, I have videos to show, hundreds of videos of me doing webinars to show. So they're available online, so one can actually learn how to engage people. It's high energy, high this thing. I should get into that frame of mind before doing that webinar, So yeah.
Yeah. So that's very interesting. Can you share, like, okay, what happened? Like, break down the 4 hours, and also I'm pretty sure that's not just one person. Also, like, okay, if there were multiple people doing different things, what were each of them doing during the 4 hours?
Perfect. The community manager was then promoting the webinar
During the
on the
webinar.
before the start, and
Okay.
also during the webinar in case someone has missed the first
Yeah.
20-30 minutes, you can say
Mhm.
that it's all right, you haven't missed
Yeah.
anything, you can still join in,
Yeah.
something like some post like that.
Yeah.
And then we were also in the webinar telling people to comment on a certain post to increase engagement. We were doing those kind of things too, and we're going to say that we're going to choose some random number from this post who has commented. So if you comment right now, I'm going to choose it right now by sharing my screen. Imagine the power, right? Like everyone is commenting. I hit refresh, 5 comments come in. I hit refresh, 5 comments come in. The same people are commenting multiple times. It's getting crazy. So that was one there. First 5-10 minutes, you can say, in the webinar are about introductions and setting up the stage, setting up this thing, what's next to come. And first 5-10 minutes is when, if you're not engaged with them, it's like what Mr. B says, right? First minute of the video, it has to be like super engaging and all that. Same thing applies here. But since it's a webinar, first 5-10 minutes, it has to be like you're interacting with them, you're noting down their questions, you're setting up the room for what's to come. Yes, you're hyping it up even more because they show up, they find it boring, they'll leave. And I do a giveaway instantly. And once I do the giveaway, I then set up the stage, say that this is what is yet to come, and then I show it. And then I let the speaker take in the thing.
Interesting. And was there a single speaker? Were there multiple speakers? How was that structured?
So there was me, obviously. I was more of
Mhm.
a marketer, sort of moderator, you can say,
Mhm.
who was the hype man. Then there was the founder of the tool itself,
Mhm.
who launched, who was the founder of the tool. He also brought in his co-founder, and there was my founder as well, who was already there.
Mhm.
And and when I'm hyping these people up, my founder was out there replying to comments. And when my founder was talking, I muted myself and closed my camera, and I was replying to comments. So the replying to comments part is a very tedious work, because
Yeah.
what happens is these guys ask questions, and when you have 400 people and all of them are engaged and asking questions,
Yeah.
you have to be there to type, or else
Yeah.
they'll be like, hey, you're not answering my question at all, you know
Yeah.
so there has to be one person there who is 100% taking care of the comments, the moderation,
Yeah.
banning people. Luckily we didn't have many spam people,
Yeah.
luckily. So that was there. And yeah, this went on. So there were around 4 or 5 speakers, you can say. Me, the founder of the tool, his co-founder. So 4 or 5 people were there.
Understood.
Mm.
And so, what did you talk about for 4 hours? Like,
Very simple.
how did you,
Yeah.
how did you structure it? And if you can answer it in a way of some way that, hey, so that anyone listening could do it for themselves also.
First 10 minutes, usually introduction.
Oh, sorry. One more thing. Also, if you could answer why 4 hours, like why
Oh,
not make it
right.
a 30 to an
We
hour
want
long
we
thing?
wanted under 1 hour actually. We 100%
Okay.
wanted 1.5 hour. I'll tell you why
Okay.
it became 4 hours. It became 4 hours because people were asking questions. The ticket size of the product was too high. It was starting at
Okay.
$200 and it went to $2,000.
Hmm.
And people who were buying the $2,000 plan, they had a lot of questions. People who were buying the $700 plan, they had a lot of questions. So due to all these questions, it became
Hmm.
4 hours. And I have one policy in my webinars. Due to that policy, it became 4 hours. It's like, unless I answer every single question of yours, I'm not leaving it. I know it's getting late. The time is 8 p.m. here in India. I don't know what's your time over there. Comment it right now. I just tell it like that. And then, but no matter where you're joining in from, if it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m., etc., I value your time. So until I answer all of your questions, I don't want to leave. I'm all here with you right now, talking to you. And I tell them their names. They are just blown away right now at that point. So it was all people asking questions, questions, questions. And you should see us at our fourth hour. It's like, yeah, oh, fine. Yeah, we are still answering. Okay. It's like, it's hard. So that's what it is. And we did that.
Understood.
That's why
So
it became 4 hours.
what was the initial
Structure.
plan of yeah?
So structure was only for 1.5 hour, 1 hour
Mhm.
webinar, half an hour for answering questions, but that half an hour grew to a long thing. The questions had again repeated questions, follow-up questions, etc. So it was
Yeah.
like that. So first 5 minutes, you can say first 5 minutes is introduction, setting up the stage, hyping it up for what's to come, then taking up their names and etc. Second 20-30 minutes is about delivering pure value. If you're launching a social media management tool, let's say for example, I want you to deliver value on social media management, like growing followers, like telling them, breaking them down the algorithm to them, giving them freebies, doing all this kind of stuff, telling them about social listening tools, telling them certain tactics that work. Pure value, there's no escaping from this part. Give them the absolute best value possible for literal half an hour. They should be like, oh, they're taking notes now. They don't want to miss it anymore. They're getting late for some function, but they don't want to miss it. It should be that valuable, essentially. So once that value is delivered, once you've gained that trust, yeah, I can do this. And then you can say, now you can do this with the help of this tool. Usually webinars fail because they fail this value part. They think webinar is for selling. They'll find all these people, they're worried that these people might go off and they start selling. And I'm like, no, don't start selling like that. Just provide value, answer a ton of questions. Once you provide that value, done. We introduce the sales part, we give the product link, and then we talk about the product more. We showcase how easy it is to use the product. We're like, bus, 2 clicks and AI is generated the 100 captions. Wow. Like this, we show like that.
Yeah.
And then can you
Yeah.
see how many hours can you save? Somebody else is hyping it
Yeah.
up, like my founder or someone. If I'm
Yeah.
missing some things,
Yeah.
can you see how many hours you can save in your agency? Your copywriter is writing only these lines. We're giving them all the kinds of things. Like, okay, as an agency owner, because those were the people who
Yeah.
came in. As an agency owner, imagine these many hours of free time every single day. They're going to be blown away.
Yeah.
And then now, imagine as an agency owner, you can generate reports automatically without spending one whole day looking at all the boring metrics, finalizing, compiling. They're already hooked onto it. So we give them that value, we show them what the tool is, and then we give them a time sensitive offer. That is much more important thing. So remember the structure: introduction, value, the product, showing how easy the product is, and then also telling them how it can be useful in this thing, and then a time sensitive offer. The offer they normally get on website is fine, they'll immediately get it, but they join the webinar, they stayed in it, we respect their time, we tell it to them and say that this is a time sensitive offer. We turn on the timer and we wait for the questions to come in. Now as the questions coming in, the timer keeps on increasing, and we don't want to increase the timer technically. Why? Because we don't want to give that offer. The offer is too good. It's causing us a lot of monetary this thing to give that offer. I'm like, oh my god, you're gonna save a ton of money if you get that basically during that offer. So I'm like, we have to keep this offer limited at any cost. We're not gonna keep it. But then the timer kept on increasing because these guys had a lot of questions. They're like, I have question, might you're not answering. I don't know. If you answer my question, I'll buy it right now and all that. So okay, fine. We are like, okay, 20 more minutes. So we did that. Ultimately, we ended the offer around third hour. Yeah, like we didn't want to continue. Some people came to us with a failed payment. This thing, we cross-referenced that into our system. Our customer support team did that. We checked. Okay, fine. It was during the webinar time. We gave them like a leeway, 4 5 hours like this here and there, and that's what happened. This is the entire structure. In the end, it's for questions. You don't answer questions right away. Right away, pick one or two questions and answer. The Q&A corner is always at the end.
Understood. And so you said you gave away a lot. You did a lot of giveaways. I think that's the last thing I want to understand. Like, what were the giveaways? So one, you had a very strong. You've already delivered value in what you're saying. You are doing a lot of engaging. You're using a lot of tactics to engage folks. You also have a really solid offer that you've packaged your product into, which is time sensitive. So what were the giveaways you were doing in the middle? Can you give us a
The
few
product
examples of
itself,
them?
one thing. Now they can buy it in an offer, but one lucky guy, two lucky guys can get the product itself for free. You need not buy,
Yeah.
right? You attend it, your $500 is yours.
Yeah.
So it was like that. That was one thing. Then
Apart from that.
t-shirts was another thing. T-shirts and mugs were another thing. T-shirts and mugs, I'll tell you, we used something called Printful. You can note it down. People might wonder because we had global audience. How can we ship
Yeah.
it globally? In India, we
Yeah.
use Vista Print or something. Globally, we used the Printful. Printful
Understood.
costed us $20 per T-shirt, and in India, 600 rupees per T-shirt.
Yeah.
This was the thing. That's it.
Perfect. So that helps understand, okay, what are the kind of giveaways, and even in a B2B audience, things like mugs and t-shirts still work. Was there anything like
100%.
how did you what was on the mug or the t-shirt? It wasn't your logo for sure. So what was on it?
It was our logo.
That's it? Like
Yeah.
just a t-shirt with your logo.
It
Amazing.
we also had different T-shirts. It's not like just
Okay.
our logo. We for Black Friday we launched 4 new T-shirt designs.
Oh,
Something
okay.
like something related to hustle culture, etc. Like
Yeah.
an idea can, I don't know. There were multiple different things. Uh,
Right. So it wasn't
cool,
just a
trendy
t-shirt with your
designs. Yeah,
logo.
yeah,
Yeah, it
hundred
had
percent.
you had spent like time designing it, planning it, and then it was relevant to the audience and their preferences and what they cared about. Even the mugs that you had designed, yes, it had your logo, but the
Yes,
designs were something that they would want to have.
mugs was just
So the
our own
giveaways,
logo.
yeah,
Mugs had a different design altogether.
okay,
We didn't have that much time, but T-shirt had, of course, different design. Yeah.
yeah, understood.
T-shirt
So
design was
this
one
helps
design
quite
was,
a
I
bit. So
guess, you're one software deal away or something like that. Inspired by one funnel away,
okay,
obviously. So
yeah.
yeah, so this is
Nice.
what we did.
Okay, perfect. So just summarizing the during the webinar thing, right? And by the way, this is very helpful. So there were 4 people. Uh, if someone else wants to do this, there ideally I think could be 3 people also, like 1 or 2 speakers, and the other 2 people replying to comments would be an ideal, very good, I think, set of folks before. And then to prepare for the webinar, obviously there has to be a hype man, or one of the 3 people at least has to be really good at hyping things. At least one person has to be very good at delivering value in a very well structured, and has to come extremely prepared to it. There has to be a lot of pre-work done during webinar stuff, to for the giveaways, for all everything that you are going to be doing then. And then the other 2 people, when they aren't speaking, they still need to be replying to all of the comments and making sure that's being done. So
I'll
does
I'll
that
tell you in a very
summarize?
simple manner. That's
Mhm.
obviously you summarized it good, but it's still complicated.
Yeah,
But if you were
yeah.
to put it in a one line, I'll tell you.
Mhm.
Just go watch those Naptol videos, Yeah, I get it in a while. Imagine you're doing Naptol for software now in that webinar.
Yeah.
Nobody watches Naptol videos. But ultimately, how will you make them watch? I already gave you the formula. How will you keep them
Yeah.
engaged? I already gave you the formula. Similar. You need to do it in a similar way. Essentially, in a nutshell. Yeah. You go and watch
Cool.
those
And
Naptol videos. You're done. Naptol videos, I'll tell you, if he's
perfect.
selling a phone, he's taking the phone, Akarot tod raha hai, he's like breaking this thing, he's throwing the phone, he's like putting the phone under the car and saying, this is the strongest phone, and all that. You see what he's doing to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
And same with shoes. He's like, this t-shirt, It is stain free. He's pouring coffee on it. He's like, he's the one girl is there. She's like, अरे यार तुम सूप बना रही हो ठीक है लेकिन मैं तो clumsy हूँ. Then she gets angry and she pours the soup on it. Like keeping it interesting. You know, gone are the
Yeah.
days of boring webinar where you're like, hey guys, welcome to today's webinar. I see people.
Yeah.
Sam is here. Yeah, hi. No, you see my webinar, it's like, oh my gosh, 400 members. That's great. It should be like 1 hour of constant shouting. Okay. It's like you're hyped. That energy actually transfers. You
Yeah.
see any of my hundreds of webinars that is already there on the Pitch Ground channel. You have to scroll
Mhm.
down and check it. It's always hype. It's always like you're excited. You're genuinely this thing about it. It's like
Yeah.
you're gonna, you know, there has to be that energy.
Yeah.
That is 100% important.
Awesome.
I'll tell you why. We did this. This is another key insight. We hired a guy from New York, $5,000 per month. That was his salary. He was slow. Hi guys, what's up? And all that. We thought adding a native speaker helps. No, but it didn't. We didn't get any sales while he was doing webinars. After 3 months, we
Understood.
had to remove him. As simple as that.
Yeah.
And then I was put into place. I was told to shout, do these kind of hype stuff, put high energy stuff. And that brought in sales. And I was like,
Understood.
okay, this energy also plays a very important role. The reason why Vivek Bindra is successful, energy. Reason why Naptol ads are funny, you can say, is engaging, energy. I think webinars also. Nobody wants to see those Zoom videos with 4-5 people out there talking some random things among themselves. No, you have to talk to the people out there. Just that it's like,
So
that's the secret. That's
I
actually
think
the
those are
secret.
the two things that you focused on the most. One is like very high energy. Second is talk to the people, and in talk to the people, you're also sort of looking at one, the way you present, and also to the way you reply. And then apart from that, also if you see a difference in audience behavior, adapting the webinar to it, for example, dropping an additional giveaway for things like this, or
100%.
having a break or
Adapting is
something
100%
pre-planned.
important. 100%.
Understood.
It's like
And
you need to have your full focus on during the webinar. You should see what's happening, how many people are texting, how many people are commenting, and all that. So
interesting. So what about the post webinar? So let's say you said that you gave a link to purchase. I'm assuming that was a discount link. That's the only link you can go and get the discount from, or something like that. Apart from that, did you do anything post webinar? Because you have their information, their email IDs, maybe their phone numbers. What information had you collected? What did you do post webinar?
So during, ideally post webinar, we give them a replay within 24 hours because these 3 hour, 4 hour webinars, this takes time to upload. Yeah. And we send a replay email 24 hours post the webinar.
Yeah.
In that replay email, we say what have you missed and all that, so that they can attend the next webinar. And we take clips out of this webinar where some guys have won, and we use it as a hype for the next webinar. You're getting my point? Yeah, it's like you can also win, okay? It's like, oh my God, Pradyumna, congratulations, you won this thing. I take 4-5 clips out of it, boom. Next webinar's promotion is ready. So next webinar promotion, I'm like, do you want to attend? Where you can learn how to grow your social media accounts, how to manage reports on automation, and also get a free content calendar template. Then register now. That's my pitch for the next webinar. Yeah.
Got it. And so you use, so post webinar, the two things. So apart from sending the recording, you didn't do anything on this particular webinar, right?
No.
And
This particular webinar, verifying the purchases, giving them the extra value stuff. That part needs at least 1 or 2 people handling it.
Yeah.
That
Understood.
part. Yeah.
No, this helps quite a bit. So I think there were a lot of small pieces that at least I would have gone wrong with, including, for example, like the kind of energy you want to maintain, the kind of tone. A few other interesting points for me were, I think when you said Facebook groups, now I understand why you chose that, because the niche of agency owners, definitely in that niche, Facebook groups are really well. So you had done your research, you understood your audience, you understood where they existed, you had the strategy about using community managers was really, I think it was really impressive. So that, and also being able to negotiate with them also, or almost like not exactly negotiate, but then yeah, hype them into your promotion could be something. Did anyone, oh, I didn't ask, did anyone ask for payments or anything like this?
Or like what payments?
Payments to publish your offer in their group.
We were giving them a code, right? Essentially, we were giving them a code. That code gives 100% off. Basically, they can redeem the product for nothing. They're getting the whole $200 for free. You're getting my point? So they essentially got the $200 for free. And they are getting engagement for their own group. So they didn't require any payment. And it was Black Friday. So they were also hyped up. And it was a software group. So they were also hyped up as well. So they didn't require any payment. Prior relationship with these groups 100% will help. If not, give them a this thing.
Awesome. No, so I think Meenank, is there anything that I didn't ask you about that might be helpful to implement this?
Product and the audience fit. If you're listening and you see and if you're in currently, let's say, HR tool, and I'm having agencies, freelancers, and all these as customers, all people who show up to the webinar, the hype is not going to be real. The hype won't be real. People won't actually purchase it. You're getting so the product audience fit also has to be there. And in marketing, you sell anything on landing pages, anything on funnels, the reach is insane. It's like these are the tools that help you make money. So when you put in these kind of tools, that's when the sales happen a lot. Martech related tools, I would say. If we had done with any other tool, HR or meeting related tool or any other tool, I don't think it would have done well.
Interesting. I love that point also, that hey, let's figure out, okay, like you need to have a very good audience, sorry, you need to have a very good offer for the kind of audience, and you also need to understand the industry. Perfect. So thank you so much. Just one last question for yourself. So if you had to do an elevator pitch for yourself, could you do that right away? Like just a quick elevator pitch for yourself, what you do?
Hi, I'm Meenank, and I help you get sales using community management and webinars. I turn your dead audience into live question asking, interactive feedback giving audience that helps you build your own product. So, where are you right now? I hope you're sliding into my LinkedIn DMs. That's all it is. Thank you so much.
Love it. So, thank you so much, Meenank, for this. So, if anyone wants to reach out to you, one is obviously already mentioned, your LinkedIn is one place that people can reach out. Where else can people find you?
LinkedIn is the main place, or else I'm active on Twitter as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate this. And I personally learned a lot. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm glad it was helpful.
Thank you for listening to the TLDR podcast. In case you're wondering, Spear Growth is a marketing agency. We help B2B SaaS companies like yourself with ads and SEO. Check out our website at speargrowth.com. That is SPEARGROWTH.com. Just like this, every episode starts with a 1-minute summary of what we discuss. Pick the next episode to listen to based on what you can implement right away. And after you implement any of these tactics and see an impact, we'd appreciate you drop us a note on podcast@speargrowth.com.